This is the entire week review starting 2nd of June to 6th of June. We had a very positive week. The entire week we traded very consciously, was very mindful, and I started doing some better ways to review manure, and I've created a checklist, a booklet of manure which is helping me to trade. uh, I'll, I'll showcase you all those things sometime during this month. Let's look at what happened on 2nd of June. uh, the market opened and we printed a very strong bull bar, and there were a halt in momentum, and had I have seen this candle go below and I've seen buyers coming up, I would have bought it, but I was waiting and it was a negative candle. And if you remember, the general idea is to measure the body of the opening candle if it's strong, and then print it either words for a measured move target. And the market then printed a very big bar. It was almost 100 points, and then there was no point in trading for the entire day. That is why I did not trade it the entire day. And if you see, the market was in a range for the entire day and there was nothing to be done, so better that we avoid it. Then came 3rd of June and the continuation happened. Market opened here, we saw a weak open, two bear bars, a pullback, and then a very big bar. And I was hoping that this bar close here, maybe we see a little retracement, then maybe I would sell it. But the continuation bar itself was very big. Seeing what has been happening in the entire week, which is it happened on Monday and it happened in Tuesday, and then the entire day was in the range of the big bars and there was nothing to be done. Did not trade it. Meanwhile, this is where the Dow Jones opened very positive, had a retracement down, came back up, and there was a measured move up, and then I started buying, hoping that whatever we've seen here would be printed back up. Both the breakout, added on the closed, added on the closed, added on the closed, and then when it started forming a range, exited on the prior bar high. This was an early exit, but I have already added 4 times, so I was fine with reducing my exposure. This has been a constant thing as well, where I have to build the fortitude to hold my winners very long. The same I did in the Nasdaq, bought the breakout added on the close, added another on the breakout of the range, and exited. I was more focused on the Nasdaq and less on the Dow Jones, because if you look, uh, both index opened positive. Dow Jones went below the opening, and it was much more negative at the opening, but the Nasdaq was much more positive, and I wanted to trade the index and build long position in the one which is much more positive. On 4th of June, the market opened here. It was undecisive. I went long for a breakout, saw a retracement. I measured the retracement, plotted it on the second retracement that came, and I was very well aware that I could get stopped out at break even, but this candle was strong enough and I wanted a continuation. Moved my stop to break even and I got out at 0. But what was to learn was the retracements were kind of equal size, and then later on when the market peaked, and you could see very easily that while we were forming steps and pushing higher, there was a weakness. After strong bull bars, we were seeing retracement. That is why later on you would see the market started selling, and it sold off, and then you could have had a measured move. Of course, this is after the fact. I was not trading it. I did not utilize this knowledge. A, B, C, D, and even the retracement were of equal size. I was not trading it. If you look at the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones, both the index were very undecisive. Opened there, negative, bought up, negative, bought up, and similar happened in the Dow Jones. I was not trading, because if you look at the 15 or the first half an hour, you would see the entire market has formed a range, and it was in the first 30 minutes range of the trading session. 5th of June was a pre-NFP day. It was one of those days when I pressed aggressively, and the research suggests that if you bracket the second 10-minute candle on a pre-NFP day in DAX index, it seems to be working well, and it generally result in a trend day on the breakout of the bracketed candle. The market did give us an opportunity. It was a break of the second 10-minute candle, and we started buying. I added on close after 10-15 points, 10 points, 10 points on the retracement, and closed some position when I felt like the move is overextended. Waited for a retracement to add it back up again, and this was a really good day. We added a couple of times and closed right. The research paid us very well during the Dow Jones and the Nasdaq, which was On the pre-NFP day, the market opened negative, and I tried shorting it on the retracement because it was negative. And if you'd see, there were 5 bear bars. I shorted on the prior bar high, got stopped out, and then I flipped, and this is where I flipped. It went back to go below the shaved bar, which is the point where everybody agreed, and then so I moved back up. I bought the close, added, and exited at the highs. I was a little cautious because of the pre-NFP day. Did the same in the Nasdaq, shorted on a pullback, got stopped out, flipped, but my stop got clipped, and I was unlucky that I got stopped out. I did not add it. I started pressing the Dow Jones instead. And then came the day when the news was supposed to be released. I did not trade it, even though this is where the market opened. This is a measured move down, but the news was supposed to be released. I was waiting for the news, and when the news was released, it was very positive of the market, but the candle did not close that good. And when the market tried to break and it failed, if you'd see, this was a good bear bar, came all the way back, and the market tried again and it failed. Generally the market tries something twice, and if it fails, you'd see a move in the opposite direction. That is when I started buying, bought here, another one on the retracement, and I exited. This was a clear range high, and I exited. Did kind of same thing in the Nasdaq. It, even if you look at DAX, it did not close that well, while the Nasdaq closed very well after the news. If you'd measure this move from here to here, place that move, you'd see these were the targets. Added on the, started buying on the breakout, added when I felt the momentum is good, and exited. Now I could have done the same in the Dow Jones as well. Start buying here, add when you feel, and exit. Even though if you measure this to be A, B, and then you C, D, it was a far extension of ABCD. The move was much more stronger, but I was not onboarded here. But we made well. The entire week was very awesome. One thing that I've been noticing is, on days when things are indecisive, I do not trade, and on days when I feel things are working the way I want, I am trading well, pressing my winners right, and I am also trading less. If you'd see comparatively with the last month, and I think that is the recipe for trading well. Trade when the situation and the conditions are in your favor, when things are happening how you want them to be. That is your strength, and you bet big when things are working in your favor. You add to your positions. That has been the learning of the past week, and the momentum continues.